Well, we recently have done a build out on this box truck that we have. It's a U-Haul that we bought.
And many of you have been curious, rightly so, of what it cost us to build this thing.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about what it cost us. We're also going to talk about how we paid for it.
Yep.
Well, hey everybody, I'm Bill.
And I'm Elizabeth. Live simple.
Live free. And this box truck that we built out, you know, I have wanted to have an RV for a long time, and we had a trailer, a 32-foot travel trailer, and we sold that.
We had the hybrid and then we had the 32.
Yeah, we've had two different ones. We sold that to put that money towards buying houses. And so when it was time to get another RV of some sort, I really didn't want a travel trailer. I wanted something that was a drivable, something that was small, that would fit into a parking spot. So basically either a camper van or a small Class C. Now, I realized as I was editing this video that we never actually showed you the truck. So for those of you who may be new to our channel and have never seen our camper truck, so you don't know what we're talking about, let me give you a real short tour. This is by no means a thorough tour, but just a real brief tour so you can see what we're doing. This was a 14-foot U-Haul box truck that we purchased, stripped, you know, a moving truck, and we built it into a camper van. Let me show you. So as we come in here, you see that first of all I had to cut a hole through to get into the cab, so we have access there. And then this is a bed up here. That's the part that goes over the cab. And then here we have a full shower. And that is our composting toilet. So we don't have a black tank because of that. But we have 30 gallons of fresh water and 30 gallons of gray tank for the shower and for the sink. So here's the sink. It's quite deep. Beautiful sink. Cabinets. That's our stove. It's a Coleman camp stove that we take down and just set there when we're cooking. Here's our back dinette. Table folds up and goes underneath of there, and then we set that up, and then this also goes into a bed. And then over here we have storage. We have milk crates for our clothing. There's a refrigerator freezer down there. And then over here, that's my desk. It folds up like this, and I set there to do my editing on my video while we're traveling. Instead of a regular RV air conditioner, we have this mini split. This is a residential HVAC heat pump type mini split, and this is the inside unit. There's an outside unit hanging on the wall. This gives me heating and air conditioning out of that one system. And we have a large enough solar system that will run for about 12 to 13 hours off of the battery, so we can run the air conditioner all night, which I love. So that's just a quick little tour, just in case you've never seen it before. Now let's get back to the discussion. I spent about 9 months or so looking online for Class C's and for camper vans. Camper vans were just this much too small for the two of us. Would have been perfect for me, but for the two of us it was just a little bit too small. Would have been fine if we were just going to do a 3 or 4 day weekend, but to go for a couple months at a time, we needed something bigger.
Well, something that I could stand up in.
Right, well yeah, something to stand up in, something that has a shower in it and a toilet and all that kind of stuff. So I was on several different Facebook groups and searching Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist and all those other kinds of things. And what I found over the past 9 months was that if I looked at a Class C that was ranging from 1995 up to 2000, 2002, something like that, the average price was between $25,000 and $30,000, and many of them had well over 200,000 miles on them. Now you're going to say, oh, certainly you can find something cheaper than that. Yeah, if you search enough and you do a nationwide search, you can probably find a good deal of somebody who, just doesn't know what they've got there, or an estate sale or something like that. I'm just talking about the average price that I saw for used Class Cs.
Right.
And there were some problems with those too, because one of the things that I really wanted was some kind of an air conditioner that would run all night when we were off grid.
Yeah.
And so that, talking about a pretty big solar system. And most of the air conditioners that come in RVs take a lot of power, and you have to have a magnificent battery bank to drive those things. So I wanted to go with the HVAC mini split, what we call a heat pump residential unit, because it takes much less power. And then I still wanted to have a big battery bank.
And it gives power and heat without having to add another source of heat.
Right. And most of those Class C RVs that I saw did not have solar, or if they did, they had like 100 watts of solar on the roof and just enough to drive their computer, and that's about it. So if we spent $30,000 on one of those used things, then I would still have to put in a big solar system. And
a lot of times, because there are air conditioners on the roof, there wouldn't be room to put as many panels as you wanted.
That's true too, yeah.
So anyway.
So I'll tell you in advance before we start talking about the total cost. The solar system that we put into the box truck that we just built in total cost $8,300. So if I wanted to buy a used one for $3,000 and then put that kind of 30 grand, yeah, that's what I said, 30 grand. And then wanted to put a solar system in it, we would be looking at $38,000 or $39,000 for something that's 1997 and it's got 200,000 miles on it. So that's why we decided to buy a box truck and build it ourselves, and I figured certainly we can save money.
Another factor is being able to design what we need.
Right. Well, we did save money, but I will tell you, not as much as I thought we would. But there's the money aspect, and there's, like she said, the design thing. Because most of those Class Cs, if they're small enough to fit into a parking spot like I wanted, then they either had the bed going straight across the back where one of us would have to crawl over the other one to get out, or they had the bed running this way where you have to crawl in from the end. And we've talked about this many times. Because of her arthritis in her knees, she can't crawl in from the end. And many of them that were that small only had the one bed. And so we needed to find something that we could design the way we wanted it, the way we needed it, so that it works for us. And that's exactly what we did.
I mean, including making sure there's room so I can have my walker with me. And
right.
There's just things that
I designed a space in the closet specifically just for her walker to fit in there.
Yeah.
And a space specifically for our 2 lawn chairs to fit in there, things like that. So, is there anything else you want to say about that before we actually start talking costs?
I also truly believe, and from a lot of people's anecdotal evidence, I truly believe that by taking this pretty well-maintained newer truck and Bill putting in quality work, and I mean, I'll vouch for him, he put in such quality work into this place. Nothing extremely unnecessarily fancy, but well built. I think that we've got something that's better built.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So this truck that we got is a 2007, and I bought it directly from U-Haul in Orlando. If you want to find a U-Haul truck, you can just go to trucksales.uhaul.com, and you can find every U-Haul dealer in the country that's selling them, and the prices and all that. So that's what I did.
122,000 miles.
Yep.
And Bill crawled underneath and he flipped because there's not a drop of rust on it.
No.
That was really good.
We paid $8,700 for the truck, and then with the taxes and registration and all that, the total cost for the truck was $9,651. So then I started all of the build out, and I'm going to exclude the solar from this number because I already added the solar to if we had bought a used RV, and so
we want to keep apples to apples if we possibly can.
So after we paid $9,600 for the truck, the entire build out excluding the solar, we spent an additional $15,039. And then on top of that, we had the solar system, which was the batteries and the solar panels and all that, total installed was $8,336, which means that the total cost for us to build this truck, with me doing all the work, was $33,027, which is probably $5,000 less than if we had bought a used one and then put that big solar system in it.
And we have to realize we probably would have had a hard time putting such a good solar system on a van, I mean a Class C like that, because we had a nice big open area on the top of the truck without an air conditioner in the way. So it made it a lot more feasible.
Yeah, it's a big solar system because it's got 1,200 watts on the top. It's got 560 amp hours of battery. That's a lot bigger than most have. So.
And you know, we had that professionally installed properly too. That was really important.
Right, and it drives my air conditioner all night long. We get up in the morning and the battery's still got 40% capacity in it, and then we start the engine and the solar, and it charges up the next day.
It's truly off grid.
I'm very happy with that.
Yeah. We also, honestly, as preppers, it's wonderful for us because if we lost all of our electricity, we've got this great big solar system that we just plug into out in the driveway. That's amazing.
I have a little solar generator that I've shown you before, and it's up in Virginia. And as we were about to come down here, we're in Florida now, I started to throw it in the truck in case we lose power here so I can plug in my refrigerator. And I thought, wait a minute, I got this monster solar system on the truck outside. All I have to do is just run an extension cord from that out into here, and it'll charge. It'll turn on all my lights in the house and the refrigerator and everything else.
It's amazing. It's like having a whole house generator.
A portable whole house generator.
Yeah, that's been kind of a cool side thing.
So, now, like I said, it cost us more than I thought to actually build it because many of the components are just more than you would imagine. Things like the side door, the RV door.
Which works perfectly.
$679 for that door. The mini split air conditioner, the HVAC system, not the solar system, just the HVAC system, $766.
But it makes him smile every time he uses it.
So actually, you know, if I had bought a used RV and put a solar system in it, I probably also would have put a $766 mini split in there as well. So that would go up even more.
Right.
The cushions for the dinette.
We put a lot of thought into this.
Instead of trying to make them ourselves and try to cover them, and they would. Anyway, we just had them custom made, and they came out beautiful. And that was $649 for the cushions.
But we were able to get them exactly to the size that we needed so that it works as a dinette and it works wonderfully, firmly as a bed, and they're very comfortable.
Yeah.
And just very well made. I think they're going to last forever.
The steps to get up to the door, we paid about $300 for the steps, and then I had Barry help me spend the day helping me welding it all up and everything, and we paid him for that. We paid $300 for that. So
sure, I mean, he was taking a lot of his valuable time when he would usually be working.
Yeah, a lot of people always say, "Well, why doesn't Barry help you?" Well, Barry's got a full-time job. He can't just take the time off, you know. Right. So anyway, we paid him for the day. So it was $600 for the steps, and then the hot water heater that's down underneath of the sink, $630 for that. So you can see that's a couple $1,000s right there, and that's just a couple of the main components.
Right.
And then things like the cabinets and all that, I could have tried to build them myself, but I'm not a finished carpenter. I'm a framing carpenter, and I couldn't make them look as nice as the ones that we bought. Since it's a box truck, it's got a square top instead of a rounded top like a van does. So we were able to just buy kitchen cabinets like you'd put in your kitchen in your house, residential cabinets, and just install them. Yeah. But those range between $200 and $250 a piece.
Right. But we could get exactly what we needed.
Right.
So that was really good.
So altogether, we spent $33,000 on that, which was probably $5,000 less than we would have spent for a used vehicle that had more mileage.
And this is built to what we really need. It is a stronger, newer vehicle. And everything in there has been really well installed. So I feel like that it is not just a matter of it costing less, but I think we got a lot better of a vehicle in the long run.
Right.
Than if we'd gotten something that was 10 years older and almost 100,000 more miles on it.
Right.
So yeah.
Now, how did we pay for this? You know, we get comments on a regular basis talking about our name, Live Simple, Live Free. People saying, you're not living simple, you got all this stuff. I think there's a misunderstanding of what we mean by simple. When we say simple, we mean basically debt free. We live simple because we never buy anything that we can't pay for, cash.
Yeah.
And just last week I did a video about the new covered trailer, toy hauler trailer that we bought to go behind the truck.
Which was a very practical need.
And we got a couple of comments on that one. One of them said, you never said how much your big trip cost. We didn't talk about the trip, how much it cost us in gas and oil.
Okay.
And then it says, it just keeps getting fancier, not simple anymore. And
Well, I'll talk about that in just a second.
And the next one says, you keep acquiring stuff. And I think people just see that we keep buying new stuff and we're not living simple anymore.
I can honestly say that what we've really tried to do is solve problems when we spend money. Because, we're not going to have 2 trailers. We had to get a different kind. We are selling the other one.
Yeah, which will pay for about half of the one that we bought.
Yeah, it should pay for like a good half of it. We are not accumulated vehicles. We don't have the car anymore. We just have the truck and Bill's motorcycle. This house was after the investment was made, this house in Florida is the most practical way we could think of to be able to afford to get me out of the cold. And be able, because I breathe so much better down here in the winter. And like I said, initially it was an investment, but it costs us very little to have this house also. There's just so many things where we've had to really solve a problem. Now, the truck is now our only vehicle, except for the motorcycle. But I'm very happy for Bill to be able to finally have something that he's dreamed about for a long time, and we truly enjoy traveling in it. And it turned my trip out for my 50th into this incredible, wonderful adventure. And I saw people that I haven't not seen for so many years, and I'm in contact with them again.
Your 50th high school reunion.
My 50th.
You always should say, my 50th.
My 50th high school reunion. 5-0. But it was so much less expensive for us to take this than it would have been to try to see all those people and do all that by, flying, driving, motels, restaurant meals, all that kind of stuff.
Now, every time we start to talk about something like this, inevitably we get dozens of comments of people saying, your finances are none of our business. You don't need to tell us, all about your finances. I disagree, and here's the reason. Well, first of all, we're not going to tell you any specific numbers about our finances.
That's not the point.
But see, if you're new to this channel, you may not know this, but we are debt-free. We teach debt-free. We have a seminar, I think 4 or 5 videos that teaches how you can get out of debt and how you can stay out of debt. And the best way that I know to teach that is by example. So if you want to learn how to get out of debt, check out this playlist of debt freedom that I have, and I'll put it up here. I'll also put it on the end screen and down below. It teaches the average person with the average amount of debt how to get out of debt, including your mortgage, in 7 years or less. And we have many people who have done that or who are doing that. And so as I go through this, like I said, we're not showing you specific numbers of our finances. We're just going to show you national averages. But we're doing this to show by example that this is what we've done, and if we have done it, you can do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the whole thing is about debt. If you have a mortgage, if you have car payments, if you have credit card payments, you have a huge part of your income that is not discretionary income. That money must be spent on those debt maintenance payments.
There's so many different kinds of things like that, yes.
If you can eliminate those debt payments, then all of a sudden you have a huge amount of discretionary income. Discretionary, what does that mean?
It means that you could choose what to do with it. You can make decisions about how you want to spend it.
You can
or save it or whatever.
You can spend it at your discretion instead of paying taxes, which we can't do anything about, or paying your mortgage payment, or that sort of thing.
Insurance on things.
Yeah.
Oh, we still pay insurance. Never mind.
Yeah. So I just want to go through a few numbers of the national averages. First of all, the national median income in 2023 was, for this is a family household, was $80,610. That's actually higher than I thought it was.
Yeah,
The
me
last
too.
I heard, it was like 55,000, but that was a number of years ago.
Right.
So the median income is $80,000. Now look at this chart. This was pretty fascinating to me. Lower middle class, well, below 30,000 basically is poverty level. But lower middle class is 30,000 to 58,000. Middle class is 58 to 94,000. Upper middle class, and you can see it just goes up from there. And the median income of, what was it, 80,000 is right there in the middle of the middle class. So the debt elimination program that I have is aimed squarely at the middle class.
Oh, sure.
So if you are in the lower class or poverty level, there's not much that this system will be able to do for you, unfortunately. But if you have a little bit more income than that, middle class or even lower middle class, it'll take you longer, but you can still do it.
Mm-hmm.
So and so that's where we're at. We just applied this and we got out of debt. Now we have a lot of discretionary income. So what kind of discretionary income am I talking about here? Well, the National Association of Realtors says that the average payment for a new mortgage in 2024, in April of 2024, was $2,209.
Okay.
Now, some of you will think, wow, that's how can they afford that? If you live in somewhere in the Midwest, it might be a lot lower than that. If you live in New York City or in Long Island or Southern California, you might say, I can't even buy a garage for that.
Right.
But the average mortgage payment is $2,209. The average car payment, according to Experian credit reference, in the second quarter of 2024, the average car payment for a new car was $743. That blows my mind. We've never bought a new car, so I knew it was up there, but that's amazing. The average payment for a used car is $525.
Okay.
And then the average amount of credit card debt is, total debt is $6,065.
Yeah.
And the average credit card payment is about $200.
A month. That's how
A
much
month, yeah.
to keep up with at least minimum payments to pay for the credit cards.
So I'm just talking averages here, nationwide averages. If you add those together, the mortgage, the car payment, just one car payment, many people have two, but
Right.
just one car payment and $200 of credit card payments, that is $2,934 a month that goes to debt maintenance. $3,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a lot of money. Now, you don't have any choice. If you have those things, you have to pay those, or you'll lose your house, or you'll lose your car.
Well, sure. I mean, the things that we need.
Now, if you can use my system and get yourself out of debt in 7 years or less, eliminate that mortgage payment, all of a sudden, all of this money becomes discretionary payment or income. Basically, you're going to get a $2,934 raise every month.
On the average.
And here's the thing, that's after tax. Because you've already paid taxes on that. Now you're spending it elsewhere. If you don't spend it, it goes back into your wallet without additional tax on it. So we're looking at $2,934 a month times 12 months. That's $35,208.
Wow.
$35,000 a year that is now back in your pocket, discretionary income. You can do whatever you want with it. You can invest it, you can invest in real estate, you can invest in gold, you can build a camper truck. So how did we pay for this camper truck? Well, this is where we're at. These aren't, like I said, these aren't our specific numbers, these are averages. But because we don't have any debt, we were able to save enough money in a year to be able to buy and build this thing cash.
Yeah. And you have to understand, I think this is really important. I am very careful to make sure that I have money set aside for what we need to pay for. In other words, paying for this truck came out of a savings, not out of my car fund. I put a car payment in the bank every month. so that if we have a major repair or we need to replace something, we have some money to do it. And I didn't mess with that when we were doing this truck, because we could still have repairs needed to be done, or, you know, hopefully not have to replace. And so, when you say that this is a lot now money that's available, that's money that would have been going into a mortgage, would have been going into the car payments. So everything else still is paid for. See, we don't dip into anything in terms of being able to make a purchase like this till I know the money is set aside for every single other thing that I know I'm going to have to pay for. So I still have money in case we have a truck repair or somehow we have to replace it.
Any car repair or truck repair that we do comes out of our car fund. And if we don't, I mean, we're putting away more than we ever spend in repairs. So that money is accumulating. So in a few years, when it's time to buy a new car, guess what? We're going to have the cash in our car fund to just go out and buy one.
Right. You know, we don't get them new, but I mean, to get another decent used vehicle if we need to.
Because we've been putting away a car payment into our savings account every single month.
Right. Yeah, I still make a car payment, but I do it into savings.
Right.
And so this extra money that we've been able to save to do something like the truck, which is also our vehicle, but to do the truck was after I knew I had the money for my quarterly tax payments, insurance stuff that's going to come up, all sorts of things that I make sure we've got the money for medical, so that I've got that all budgeted out. And so I feel the freedom to know we're going to cover everything. And so at least for this year, we've been able to make a dream come true and build this truck. You know, that's after we were able to pay off the house in Virginia, and that's after we paid this house off.
Yeah, you know, what we have done here is not anything extraordinary, because we are not rich by any means.
No, we live below our means, but we're not rich.
You know, it's just because it doesn't matter how much you bring in. It matters how much goes out.
Yeah, yeah.
By limiting how much goes out and by getting all of your debts paid off, you're eliminating all of that interest expense, and that's how we can do this. Right. And so, you know, just a little bit more about our plan. We moved to Virginia, we bought that house, and we had enough to put a big part down on it, but we did have a bit of a mortgage. But we were able to pay it off in
16 months.
16 months.
Yeah.
When we went into it planning to have that mortgage, we only did it because we knew we were going to be able to pay it off pretty quickly. And so we had that discretionary income and a few other things like selling the trailer and stuff like that.
Yeah, we sold stuff.
We were able to pay it off in 16 months. And then a couple years later, we were able to buy this house here in Florida. Now, let me back up a little bit. I really wanted, once we got that house in Virginia paid for, I really wanted to get this camper that I wanted. And that was the plan. That was my plan. Once we got the house paid for, the next thing was going to be the camper. But then Elizabeth started having problems with her lungs. And you've heard this story before, but we were down here for just a 2-week trip in the winter 3 years ago.
Yeah, it's been 3 years back, I think.
And it's been 4 years ago because we bought this house 3 years ago.
Oh my goodness.
Can you believe that? And we realized that she needed to get out of the cold. And so
I was really in trouble in cold weather.
And I figured, you know, we bought the house in Virginia. I figured we'd buy a camper, and then after that we'd start saving toward buying a rental property as an investment, because we believe in real estate as investments. But when I saw this issue, I decided, okay, we'll flip the goals. So we bought this house here in Florida, and now we both absolutely love it here. We spend winters here, and I didn't do this just for her. I love it down here too.
Well, it gets him out of an awful lot of snow shoveling and ice and driving on bad roads, and yeah.
So then once we were able to get this house paid off, because we didn't have any mortgage, we didn't have any debt.
And can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
Some of you have heard this before, but believe us, we tried everything under the sun to get down to Florida. And it turned out that buying this little older house was the best thing we could find to be able to actually be in Florida. It's not easy to come down and just hang out in Florida for a winter. It's all booked. Anyway, go ahead.
And so now we have our home in Virginia, and then we have our winter home here in Florida, and those were paid for. So then I went at my next goal, which was the camper, and we were able to pay for that cash. Now my next goal in the long term, we're just starting here, is to start saving towards buying another rental property. And when you can save that kind of money, if you find a good deal on a house, a foreclosure or a handyman special or something like that, you can save enough money in 3 or 4 years to buy one of those. And you know me, I have the ability to fix up a handyman special, although I don't want to anymore. I certainly can do that.
Now, something that I want to make also kind of talk about is that these are not big fancy houses.
No, these are small houses.
Yeah. Small houses. I love it. I was able to have fun fixing this place up out of thrift stores and little antique stores and stuff like that. I mean, it did nothing cost very much. Did it all cash. But because they're not fancy houses and we didn't go to an expensive part of Florida, the insurance is not real high. My taxes are not real high. Our situation in Virginia is not a fancy place, and that we have an old vehicle, and so all I'm saying is that we've been able to do some of these things that we needed to do because we really do kind of try to live honestly as simply as we can, dealing with the issues that we've had. I could say that I needed to keep my life simpler by just staying in Virginia over the winter, but I was trapped in the house. Yeah. It was really, go, if anybody ever wants to look at interstitial lung disease, it's kind of not fun. But, so we needed a solution, and we tried to come up with something we could really afford that was a simple solution. So I can't, depending on a person's income, you can do the same basic thing, and maybe some people have the kind of income they can buy a brand new Class C nice thing, or buy a fancier house in a fancier area. That's wonderful. But all I'm saying is that don't feel like that somehow we're incredibly rich and so we've been able to do all this. We've tried, even in the purchases that we have made, to keep it simple, in terms of nothing fancy.
I heard a saying one time, let me see if I can get this right. If you live like you're rich, you won't be. And if you live like you aren't rich, you will be. And so for those of you who make comments from time to time, if you're not living simple, you keep buying stuff. Why are you buying all this stuff? And some people say, boy, you must be making a lot of money, all this stuff you're buying. We can buy that stuff because we are living simple. We are living way below our means. Yeah. We hardly even go out for dinner or anything like that.
Sure,
that allows us to save the money. Save the money so that we can just write a check for the stuff that we buy, like that cover trailer I just bought.
And you have to save for it. And a lot of times, if something comes in, something has to go out.
Right.
And also, except for buying the 2 houses, which we had to have a mortgage for just a short period of time, but especially with this one, I knew exactly when I was going to be able to pay it off. But that was what we kind of had to do. But we had an exit strategy. But except for those 2 things, for many, many years now, if we don't have the money for something, we don't buy it. Yeah. I mean, it's just, you either figure out a way to do it less expensively or you just don't do it. And it's amazing the fun stuff that you can find at little thrift stores and things like that when you need to. So in a lot of ways, we spent many years as a family with our kids and being happy and living at the lower class level for a long time. So we don't have to live fancy, But the income that we do have now is a lot easier to be able to get things with because we just don't have the debt.
Right. Now I will mention we do have one credit card. It's a Discover, and we use it. Basically, the main reason I got it is because we travel a lot, and sometimes when you fly into a place and try to rent a car, they won't take a debit card. You got to have a credit card. Not all companies. Some companies will take debit cards, but that was the main reason that I got it. But the main thing is, if we ever use it, which we do very rarely, we pay it off that month.
In fact, if we're going to use it, I set the money aside.
Yeah. We don't use it unless we have the money in the general fund, and as soon as we spend $100 on that credit card, she takes the $100 out of our general fund and puts it into the credit card payment fund so we can pay it off at the end of the month.
Yeah, so that I always know that I'm going to pay that off every single month. Yeah. And people say, well, isn't that going to mess up your credit because you always pay it off? No, it doesn't.
We've got very good credit.
Yeah.
Not that we care, because we'll never
Because
use
we
it.
don't use it. It was a nice thing when we needed to get a real small mortgage on this place. It was nice to have it.
That's true. Yeah, we've gotten 2 mortgages on these 2 houses very easily, and then paid them. Well, the first one we paid off in 16 months. The second one we paid off in 3 months.
3 months, yeah. I told the man at the little bank that we went to, I said, this is going to be a small mortgage. We couldn't get it in Florida. You can't get a bank loan for a house under, I think, 100,000 here. But we found a wonderful little bank up in Virginia. And I told him, I said, I'm telling you, you're going to get your closing costs, but within just a few months, I'm going to pay this off. So I just want to be really upfront with you about that. And he goes, well, we're glad to work with you and we'll be glad to get our money back.
And we did that because we knew we were going to have a large sum of money coming in
Yes.
3 months. And this house had sold twice and kept coming back on the market. And when it came back on the market, we wanted it, and we wanted to grab it before it was gone again.
Yeah, it was going to be gone.
Otherwise, we were going to wait until that other money came in and then just go write a check for a house. But
Yeah.
we were able to get that mortgage and then pay it off 3 months later. So
Yeah. And it worked out. It was nice when that third house payment was due to just finish it off. That was amazing. So, and then we're back to where, we can make some choices with the income we do have as to what we want to do with it. So I hope that all makes sense.
So here's 2 things that I want from you guys. If you are interested in learning how to get out of debt, check out my debt elimination seminar. Like I said, I'll put a link in the description down below and also on the end screen. There's, I don't even know how many videos, 5 or 6 videos about getting out of debt, and then some others below that just about maintaining debt freedom. The other thing is, if you are out of debt, if you're working the system to get out of debt and you're well on your way, put a comment down below and let us know.
Yeah, it'd be so encouraging.
It thrills me to death to hear somebody who followed my plan and it's actually working. By the way, this isn't just something that I came up with. This was a seminar that I used to teach. I used to sell tickets and and sell that, but I don't do that anymore. So now I'm just offering it for free.
Well, you did it in some churches and stuff too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then if you want to get out of debt, but you're not, read some of the comments of people who are out of debt and how amazing it is when you pay off your last mortgage
Yes.
payment or your last car payment, how freeing it is. That's the free part of Live Simple, Live Free. You are truly free. You're not living in fear that you're going to lose your job and because of that you lose your house or whatever.
Yeah. Just a second. Give me a second to think what I was going to say. Boy, it went right out of my head. Oh, okay. And we want to also be able to help or encourage people, all of you, in any way that we can, to understand how that once you're out of debt, then the real secret of this freedom is staying out of debt. And we want to really help with any strategies that we can. It's a paradigm shift.
Yeah.
It's a complete shift in how you look at things. But it has been, knowing that I've got the money to pay something ahead of time has been so much less wear and tear on me than all those rough years after the crash. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
So I hope this has been helpful. I hope this has been informational for you. Is there anything else?
I don't think so. People have kind of wondered what this ended up costing us, and that's it's got a good solar system in it, that's for sure. But an awful lot of the reason we were able to even do what we did is because Bill's so good at doing it. And
That's true. Yeah. If I paid somebody else to do this, it would have cost us another $30,000.
Yeah, it would have been really expensive. So
So thanks for watching.
yes, live simple.
Live free. You be blessed.
Yeah. We will see you guys soon.
You be debt free.
Yeah, boy. We love you guys, and hi from Florida.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.